Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for our session on onboarding. We want to share improvements that we have made to get you guys up and running with Sumo Logic quickly. Hopefully, our session will be, the onboarding experience will be faster than the length of this session's title. So with that, I will introduce myself before we get into the agenda. So my name is Angad Singh. I'm a principal PM at Sumo. I manage the observability experience and the alerting areas of the product. And I'm also joined here by Sean, who will introduce himself. Sean?
Thanks, Angad. I'm Sean Porter. I'm a Senior Director of Engineering at Sumo Logic. I'm most well known as the creator and co-founder of Sensu, the infrastructure monitoring tool.
Thank you, Sean, for that introduction. So now let's get into the agenda. In today's session, we will cover three things. How do we think about observability? And by we mean Sumo Logic. We'll also cover our new Kubernetes onboarding experience. And finally, we will give you a glimpse into what is coming in the future with onboarding. So imagine this scenario. You've joined a new team that is managing a service with poor reliability, and you're tasked with helping improve it. The service is experiencing a lot of outages, and it takes your team a lot of time to identify and troubleshoot these issues. You quickly realize that one of the major contributors is the lack of an observability tool. And you decided to give a couple of vendors a try to see if that makes any difference. The question is, what will you look for when assessing the observability tools that are available in the market? And this is exactly what we asked a lot of our customers, and here's what they told us. The first thing that everybody cares about is fewer barriers to entry. What does that mean? You basically don't want to make major changes specific to a vendor to start onboarding. For example, vendor only supporting metrics in statsd format. So, you have to, if you have metrics in Prometheus format, you have to first convert them into statsd before the vendor can ingest it. Or worse still, your vendor requires specific instrumentation logic if you are using APM in order for you to onboard on that vendor. Right? The second thing that you care about is ease of use. Right? The tool should also provide a great experience. Users should be able to self-serve on a platform and should not require extensive sales POV to try out the product in full glory. But ease of use is not enough. You also want to make sure that the tool is reliable because the reliability of your application depends upon it. And the final top of mind item is automation, right? Which means that the tool should be easy to integrate with any of your existing provisioning and automation related processes or tools. So in order to solve that, our goal with the onboarding is to serve these needs and to get you up and running quickly so you can more quickly and easily monitor and troubleshoot your applications. So how do we solve these problems, right? So firstly, we will leverage open source collection to onboard your data and make sure no vendor specific change, you don't have to make any vendor specific changes. Secondly, we will standardize on open telemetry collection as the de facto way of collecting data. And in addition, we will provide predefined configuration for sources wherever possible to make data collection easy. Right? The next is we also want to simplify onboarding workflows. On that front, we want to make sure that we have as few onboarding steps as possible. We also are looking to improve our app installation workflow. The app installation will include all the steps required to onboard a data source. Things like data collection, metadata tagging, field extraction, dashboards, alert installation, all will be part of the app installation process. We will also be changing the app installation from a per user to a per account based installation so that users don't have to install apps separately and manage them separately. Finally, we will also ensure that these new onboarding workflows follow some form of automation like Terraform or CLI or something else. With these in mind, I'm excited to share our new Kubernetes workflow, which will allow you to start monitoring your Kubernetes environment in less than 5 minutes. But before I talk about our new workflow, I want to share why we picked Kubernetes out of all the data sources that we could pick for onboarding. The first reason was the fact that containerized applications have entered mainstream. They have become the new standard of building modern distributed applications. And Kubernetes has become the de facto orchestration tool for managing these containerized applications. It has developed a vast community and an ecosystem for supporting these applications and tools. And we want to make sure that we are able to provide visibility into these Kubernetes managed modern application stacks. But there is one more reason. Sumo Logic Kubernetes solution provides comprehensive visibility across the application stack, from your infrastructure and orchestration layer all the way to your application layer. So now let's look at what we did. Firstly, we created a single workflow that encompasses collection, app, dashboard installation, and the alert setup to make it easier for you to onboard your data. This workflow is easily accessible from the UI. Secondly, the installation is packaged in Helm and YAML so that it can be easily executed via automation scripts. And finally, we also made changes to the app installation so that it's now installed once per account rather than once per user. With that, let's look at the demo of how the solution works today. So the new workflow, this is the new page where you can see the workflow. This is the Helm-based installation. So the first thing you do is just add the Sumo Logic Helm repo. The next is you're gonna generate the access key, and it finally spits out the Helm command that you need to go execute on your Kubernetes cluster. You copy and paste it in your Kubernetes cluster, and then essentially that will set up the entire thing. You hit next. Here, the system will validate that all the steps required, like the collection, monitor, installation, dashboards, were proper. And once the data is flowing in, you can go into the dashboard view here. Quick steps, we were able to onboard the data from our Kubernetes cluster. If you want to get started with this new workflow, there are various places from where you can access it, right? The first is from the setup wizard. You can go to the home page, click on the setup wizard tile there, and eventually find the Kubernetes tile in list of data sources. Secondly, you can go to the app catalog and click on the Kubernetes category or the Kubernetes tile that is highlighted in this screenshot. Finally, if you are not currently using Sumo, you can go to the above link and try out the Sumo Logic Kubernetes solution. With that, for the next part, I'll hand it over to Sean, who will cover the future improvements that we're going to make on the onboarding side.
Thanks, Angan. Thank you. So yeah, I really want to dive further into our complete vision for onboarding. It goes beyond what we've been able to demonstrate so far in this presentation. It's really just the tip of the iceberg. Perhaps not the best analogy to use. Usually, images of the Titanic come to mind, but perhaps let's think of the full picture, or we've only shown you a few pieces of the puzzle. There are three areas of focus going forward. The one near and dear to my heart is open source collection, specifically OpenTelemetry. The OpenTelemetry agent is fast becoming ubiquitous. There are three key factors as of why. Number one, it's CNCF supercharged. It's backed by the Cloud Native Computing Foundation with a large number of community contributions and supporting vendors like Sumo Logic. And we will continue to increase our commitment and contributions here. You'll see our beautiful faces in the SIG and workgroup calls, and our contributions in the form of Git commits and pull requests. The second area of focus going forward is automated discovery for integrations. It's really all about capturing key context about the platform, the host, and the services on it. It's all about driving some context there so that we can provide a better experience. That will take a form of, for example, suggested apps. Based on that context, we can say, this looks like many of these other boxes that we monitor, and they use these apps to properly manage them. So we can make that recommendation to you as a user. And this kind of segues into our third area of focus, which is collection to apps full automation, providing a one-click setup experience. We're looking to do OpenTelemetry remote management, allowing you to control the configuration of fleets of OpenTelemetry agents, collecting data from all of your sources. And once it gets into the platform, we want to build on top of that with a new app framework. This is going to take care of automatically creating and installing the appropriate apps for the data that you're collecting, as well as the monitoring and alerting rules on top. So what I want to do is show you what we're thinking, what we're imagining this flow could look like for user onboarding, specifically around the OpenTelemetry agent. This view that you're looking at right now isn't all that different from what you've already seen within the Sumo Logic platform, but it is different behind the scenes. So in this case, if I were to click on the Linux tile here, it would take me to a new user experience, a new wizard that makes it super easy to install the OpenTelemetry agent. With a click of a button, you can generate the installation token to authorize that agent. You can also further contextualize this agent install with tags. For example, here, the one automatically populated is Linux. You could also add one for relevant services that are on this host machine, such as Apache or MySQL. You could then click a button to generate the installation command, which would wrap up everything here, give you that one-liner that you could drop into the terminal on that host. Once you do so, we would actually go through the steps of validating your setup. And if there's any bumps in the road, provide you guidance as how you could get over them. And then once we start to see that data come in from that OpenTelemetry agent, we can automatically populate all the relevant app dashboards for you to start to consume and use that data, as well as relevant monitoring alert rules. Now, if we expand beyond that, you could click on other tiles, such as Apache. We could install that integration. How would this differ? Well, it goes one step beyond what we've already done by installing the OT agent, and it can give you a few interesting prompts or forms for relative information about your Apache install. Really, the data we need to know in order to properly slurp up your Apache data. But what's great about this is we can also further validate the installation of that Apache integration. And we can verify that the relevant data is coming in, and when it is, we can automatically create all the relevant apps and monitoring alert rules for you. In conclusion, we wanted to remove as many barriers as possible. One way we're doing so is introducing the OT Unified Agent. And this gives us the opportunity to create a much simpler onboarding workflow around it. And in the end, we want to provide a collection to apps full automation experience, so that once you install the agent, everything else is pretty much taken care of. That's, in a high summary, our vision of onboarding and what it could be at Sumo Logic. Thank you so much for your time and for joining us at this session.
Thank you, Sean. And thank you, everybody, for joining. And thank you for watching the session today. I hope you find it useful.